Now, y'all, these two logs here, the butts of them had a lot of dote in the middle. They were rotten from growing on the same stump. So what I done, I don't know if y'all can see it or not, but there's a stick laying up there on the log, on the tree, right on top. I stuck that stick up in there to see how far the hollow was, and added a few extra inches, and then just laid it on top of the log so I know where to cut it off at. This one and the one over there beside of it, both of them were the same. Now, y'all, if you're running a cable skidder outfit, typically you would just fell the trees and then you would top it. But running a mule logging outfit, we actually buck our logs as we go, and it makes it a little easier for the mules to handle. In fact, they couldn't pull tree length, not on some of these big trees. But I want to give y'all an idea of what we got going on here. So we cut our logs up into 8s, 10s, 12s, and 14s for grade logs. Of course, then you got veneer and stave, quality timber, and that's a whole nother ball game. And then there's pulpwood, but we don't do a whole lot of pulpwood, mainly because it don't pay enough to handle it, and there's not anywhere close by to take it. So we just don't fool with pulpwood much. I kind of wish we could, just to clean up some of the tops. But anyway, y'all, there's 4 faces to a log, all the way around it. There's one on the bottom, one on the top, one on each side. Basically, we're looking for 4 clean faces, or as many clean faces as we can get in the longest log that we can get. Defects such as cat faces, pin knots, stuff like that in a face of a log will count against it. It will knock that log down into the next category, which will pay less per foot. So what you want to do is when you're bucking that thing, you want to look at where your defects are at, and if you got a lot of defects in a short area, then you want to group them all together and make that one log a grade 2 or grade 3 log, and then maybe you can salvage the rest of the tree. Just like this limb I'm cutting off here now, that's going to be a defect in that face on this log. We want the longest log possible with the least amount of defects that we can get. That's going to grade the best, and if it's got a bunch of knots all the way around it, then just cut it long and be done with it. But y'all, there are times when an 8-foot log, an 8-foot grade log, will pay more than a 10 or a 12-foot will, just because of the grade. Now, I told y'all I cut the butts out of these 2 logs, these 2 trees here. I cut the butts out because of dope. It was hollow. They'll dock you on footage for that at the mill. That don't really affect your grade, but it does affect your footage. And there's just no point in hauling it if you ain't going to get paid for it. You know what I mean? But like them knots right there, it was just in front of me. You know, that's going to affect that log on that face. These little limbs that I'm trimming off, those are going to affect it. All those little defects, you know, affects the gradable lumber that comes out of this log. If you get 4 clean faces, you're going to make more money per foot. If you've got 4 dirty faces, I mean, it's basically pallet wood at that point. You know, but anyway, I just kind of want to give y'all an idea of how I go about bucking the logs. Y'all, there's 100 different ways to do this, and everybody seems to have their own way. This is just the way I do it, and I want y'all to keep that in mind. You know, 3 plus 2 is 5, but 4 plus 1 is also, and also 6 minus 1 is 5. So there's a lot of ways to do things, and I'm not saying my way is the best way or the only way. I'm not even saying my way is a good way, but it's the way I do it, and it works for me. Now y'all, I want to take a minute and I want to talk about this particular tree right here. Now some of you might look at this stump and think, what in the world have you done? And I want to explain to you what I did, okay? See how crooked that thing is? Y'all, that thing was leaning way out there in the field, leaning hard. I mean, it was 30 degrees forward lean. And if any of y'all timber cutters are watching this, y'all know what I mean when I say a forward leaning tree is dangerous. A forward leaning tree will kill you, because what'll happen is, for those of you that don't know, this hinge area right across the front here, that area that controls the tree coming down, what'll happen is you'll get started cutting in from the back, and before you get enough of the tree cut off, the tree will bust and go straight up the tree, fly back, and come down on the stump. They call that a barber chair. Y'all can look that up on Google if you don't quite understand what I'm trying to tell you. But it's super, super dangerous. And what I did is I did what I call a step stump. And I've learned this from a couple different people. But basically you come in here, bore in from the side, set your hinge, pull out, and then you come in and bore in again, cut over the top of it, and then back out to the back. And then you leave that little bit on the back, snip it, and the tree goes down. And that step stump, having that tongue and groove type of deal there, kind of helps keep that tree from busting prematurely, I guess you could say. It kind of helps hold it until it's near about ready to go when you get it cut off. Y'all, you can get killed cutting timber. I mean, you can get killed in a hurry. This is real dangerous work. You have to take your time and really pay attention to what you're doing, because stuff can blow up in your face and come apart. And another thing, on cutting these forward leaning trees, I cut in from the side and bore all the hard out, and then snip it from the back, or either just come straight out the back as I'm boring. But see, I didn't get this quite cut off. See how it pulled that up the side of it? This is that piece right here. It come all the way down, and look there at that root, and that root went down in the ground right there. I couldn't get it cut off quick enough, and it started falling, and it pulled that root up. You know, and if that's the worst thing it done, then we're in good shape, because all it did was pull that root up, the tree fell down, and everybody was good. Pulled a little bit off the side, but you know what? It ain't a big deal. Trees on the ground safe. I'm okay, the saw's okay. The land and the other timber wasn't hurt, so it's a mighty success. But y'all, these forward leaning trees, they can kill you. I'm just telling you right now. If you don't know nothing about cutting a forward leaning tree, you need to leave them alone, because they can absolutely kill you. They can bust. You know, when they bust and it starts running up that tree, you know, it was gonna go that way. When it busts and starts running up that tree, the tree actually splits in half and comes apart like that. If you're standing behind it, it's gonna bust and hit you right in the head. And a lot of timber cutters have been killed just that particular way. You know, standing behind it, cutting around on the stump, boom, the tree comes apart, hits a timber cutter in the head, knocks him plumb out yonder somewhere, or knocks his head slam off his shoulders, and it kills him, okay? It's dangerous, y'all. It's dangerous work. There's a lot of safety programs out there for loggers, for timber cutters. There's a lot of safety programs out there that'll teach you safe felling practices, and I suggest anybody wanting to fell timber or get into timber cutting, take them classes. Take every one of them you can. Everyone offered to you, take them. Learn all you can. Talk to experienced loggers, you know, people that's been cutting timber a long time. Talk to them about the do's and the don'ts. It's gonna save you a lot, a whole lot, and it might even save your life, which is the most important thing, because the most important thing at the end of the day, y'all, is going home. You know, I got children at home that depend on me, and a lovely wife, and I want to go home to them, and they want me to come home. So I try to do things. I might not be the fastest timber cutter. I'm sure there's a lot of y'all out cut me, and that's okay. I'm not a high production timber cutter anyway. I'm not a high production logging outfit. We're here to do a good job. Quality is our first product, not production. I mean, production is important, don't get me wrong. You've got to have some production, yes, but it ain't the most important thing, not to me. Anyway, I'm gonna clean this bud up, and we're gonna proceed on pressing this one out. And y'all, this one here is gonna be it's gonna be a mess because it's got crooks all in it. And a lot, this tree ain't a whole lot. It ain't much count, as my granddaddy used to say. But we're gonna do the best we can to make something out of it. We may have to wind up cutting a few shorts out of it, but we're gonna do the best we can. Y'all bear with me, I gotta put my earplugs in right quick. I actually ported and polished this 046 and also put a dual port muffler on it, so you definitely want to wear ear protection when working with it. But it sure is a good little saw. Now y'all, I like to clean all the butts up on my trees. You know, if there's any hinge material left or it's uneven or anything like that, I like to clean it up, make it look like something. I want to send a sawmill the best possible product I can. You know, we try to clean the edges of it up, anywhere there's a big knot or something like that. For two reasons: it makes it look better, it makes it cut better at the mill, but also, y'all, it makes it pull better whenever the mules are pulling it too. You know, you don't want all that crap on there to where it creates a lot of drag and digs into the ground. You know, that's just harder for the mule to pull. Now y'all, I'm sure you've probably seen me put my hand up there on that clutch cover like I'm doing now, and that's to keep wood chips from flying all over me. I've got large clutch covers on all my saws, and it really puts out the wood chips, but it sure makes it cut a lot better. But you can just throw your hand up there and kind of, you know, deflect them wood chips coming out. It makes it a little bit better. Of course, every night when I get home from cutting timber, I've always got wood chips down in my overalls everywhere. So I don't know if it helps that much or not. It does kind of keep some of them off of you, though. Now, I don't know if y'all can see it or not, but there's a big old crook in it right there where I just pointed with the saw. There's a big crook in that log. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut that section out and leave it. There's no point in trying to take it to the mill. The footage deduction on it would be so great that you wouldn't hardly make any money on the log at all. So I'm just going to cut that little section out. And y'all, honestly, that's about the best practice. You know, that stuff that's like that, just cut it out and leave it. You know, or chip it, or whatever kind of option you got as far as the market in your area. And that's another thing I wanted to touch on a little bit too, y'all. The markets everywhere is different. I mean, here I'm cutting, you know, for grade logs, but even the market on grade logs changes different parts of the country. Here in Tennessee, we've got a pretty good hardwood timber market as far as hardwood lumber, cross ties, stave for whiskey barrels, veneer quality timber for, you know, making plywood and like hardwood furniture, you know, tops and stuff like that. So our markets are pretty good, but now it changes in different places, you know, and everybody does things a little different. And as I'm walking down this log, y'all, I'm looking at it, looking for defects, trying to figure out how I'm going to do it. You know, there's a cat head there and there and there. And it's all in the same face, so that's going to make that a number one log. So I'm going to cut it as long as I can get it, you know, past that, them cat faces. But as I go down the log, I'm looking at it, you know, trying to figure out how I'm going to cut it and where I need to cut it off at, you know, and whatnot. There's a bad crook in it right past this, just past where I'm cutting now. So it makes every bit of sense just to cut it off right here where I'm at. Now y'all, it's I don't believe I can get no more out of this tree just because of the way it's so curvy. You know, I got hollow knots in there. That's got that whole piece messed up, and then I've got a knot there, and I can't get nothing out of that center section, I don't think. That'll make anything. Let's look and see. Let's go from about right there. Let's go, yeah, see, 8.5 foot would be right there. I don't know how that would cut. I reckon we can try it and just see. But I don't believe it's gonna cut out good. I'll cut into it right here and just see what it looks like. Out of gas. Whew. Out of gas. I hope y'all are enjoying this time with me. I don't want to make my videos boring. I want y'all to learn something and be able to watch them and enjoy yourself. Stress relief. It is for me, y'all, to be honest with you. I mean, getting out here and working, wind's in my face, you know, it ain't bad. I mean, it is physical labor, don't get me wrong, but it ain't that bad. I enjoy doing it. I like cutting timber as much as I do working the mules. And to be a mule logger, you've gotta be more than just a mule handler. You gotta really like working timber, to be honest with you, because there's a whole lot more to it than just working the mules. You know, you gotta cut timber, you gotta market the timber, deal with the mill reps and landowners. There's just a lot that goes into it, y'all. It ain't just working stock. I mean, really and truthfully, the working the stock, be it horses or mules, that's the easy part, and probably the most enjoyable part for me anyway. But now I do love cutting timber. Probably I like cutting timber as much as I do working the stock. Maybe some days anyway. When everything's going good, my saw's running good, my chain's sharp, you know, I really enjoy it. Whew, starting to rain on me. There's a good handy rock. Sometimes you just use what you got. Worked out pretty good. Well, y'all, thanks for watching, and have a good one.